There's no doubt that menstruation is finally starting to be seen for what it is. Regardless of how much more work needs to be done for equality, we definitely have come a long way. In fact, we're going to show you how far we've come. Keep watching to learn about the history and evolution of menstruation. The amount of myths that surround menstruation is almost unbelievable. Of course, natural occurrences were viewed depending on major beliefs at that time. For example, the word taboo is originally a Polynesian term. This term meant both sacred and menstrual flow. It's interesting that they thought menstruation was sacred. However, let's begin our journey by traveling back to the 5th century. It's generally believed by historians that the ancient Egyptians had tampons. It's said that they were made from softened papyrus. In ancient Greece, Hippocrates said that women would wrap lint around pieces of wood. To top the list, these innovative women would even use sea sponges to absorb blood. Moving onwards, from the 5th to the 15th century, we enter into the era when the Roman Catholic Church was in power. Not surprisingly, women were often shamed because of their period. It's said that cramps experienced during their periods was a punishment from God because they are children of Eve. Because of this belief, they refused these poor women soothing ointments, thinking they deserved to suffer. Yikes! There were still some wonderfully innovative women, despite the religious shame against them. They would use rags as pads. And maybe a less innovative approach was to burn toads and spread the ashes around your neck. Let's hope the placebo was enough. Probably the most outrageous belief surrounding menstruation was that drinking menstrual blood can cause leprosy. Unfortunately, coping with such a serious disease is much easier when there is something to blame. A quick fast forward into the early 1800s, and we finally begin to see menstruation being brought into the light it deserves. The first time the word period was used was in 1822. Move into the 1850s, and some really cool inventions started to pop up. The sanitary apron is born. What is the sanitary apron? It's a rubber apron that has a strap that runs between the legs to help prevent blood from staining furniture. Unfortunately, it would often smell bad. Do you think this product is cool? Wait until we get to the 1980s, where we'll tell you a crazy fact about menstruation. We're sure it'll be a huge surprise to you. The protopad is invented at this time under the name menstrual belts. These are belts where a piece of fabric can be pinned like a pad to absorb blood. Yet again, the innovation is amazing. 1896 is the birth of the first pad. Not just any pad, but a commercially produced pad. Yay! One step to making periods less taboo. Not. Menstruation was still extremely taboo, and the sales were a complete failure. There was just too much shame for women to be seen buying the pads. Gotta love pseudoscience. In 1919, men still continued to be totally mystified by periods. A professor by the name B. Schick introduces a concept called menotoxins. What are they, you ask? A poison in menstrual blood that causes flowers to wilt and wine to spoil. Wonder where he got this idea from? From a natural philosopher named Pliny the Elder. He lived in 72 AD. You'd think these great and educated thinkers could figure out menstruation. It's truly amazing how intelligent these women were. In the 1920s, periods still being very taboo, two unique methods of helping women with relief sprang into existence. Firstly, Kotex, not giving up wanting to help women, developed a pad for commercial sale. However, learning from the experience of Johnson & Johnson's Lister's towels, remember that total failure from the 1890s? They changed the name to Nupak and made ambiguous packaging. This prevented anyone from knowing what they were. But, better yet, women could go into the store and simply put a nickel on the counter and walk away with a box without having to be seen. Geniuses, I tell you. Enter into the 1930s, and an invention that is now meeting high demand was created. The menstrual cup is a cup that's inserted into the vagina to collect menstrual blood. The wonderful thing about this cup and why it's making a booming resurgence is the fact that it's reusable. This is not only environmentally friendly, but also cost-effective. A nice win-win. Are you enjoying the video so far? Why not like the video and subscribe to the channel? If you want to keep up with the latest content, don't forget to ring the notification bell. A brand that all women know, Tampax, is born. However, even though pads and tampons are less taboo, they are only still advertised to married women for fear that using a tampon will make you lose your virginity. Continue onwards to 1980, and we have an amazing law that stood in Britain. Two women were charged with murder. Guess what their reason was? They were having their period or PMS. Thing is, in Britain, it was on equal terms with insanity. So if you happen to commit a crime and were PMSing, you could get the same sentence as someone who pleaded insanity. I'm not really sure how to feel about this one. It's both amazing and ridiculous. Enter into our modern era, and the taboo against periods has greatly diminished, and many new startups have begun making organic and up-to-date technology to deal with menstruation. Oh goodness, we've come a long way. It's really great to get perspective sometimes. Even though there's still some stigma, at least women aren't being accused of having toxins in their menstrual blood. So, what did you think of this video? What were your thoughts on the history of menstruation and how it evolved? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Thank you for watching and see you later.